friends, in this video we are starting with material costing. That's an important content. Questions will definitely come from material chapter. So I will give you a brief explanation of all relevant topics from where the questions are often asked. Okay, I'm trying to include all the relevant points from material costing chapter in this single video. Okay, let's start. We have seen material constitute an important part of cost of finished product. We have also seen classification of material, direct and indirect. Now we are going to discuss some of the important points from this chapter. Okay, it will include purchase requisition, bill of material, purchase order, material requisition note, material transfer note, and material return note. The difference between bin card and stores ledger, and about various stock levels. Stock levels include maximum stock level, minimum stock level, reordering level, danger level. Then economic order quantity. Then stock verification, that is inventory system. It includes periodic inventory system and perpetual inventory system. You have to know the difference between periodic inventory and perpetual inventory system. Okay. And next, the various selective inventory control techniques. There are many inventory control techniques like ABC analysis, VED analysis, FSN analysis, HML analysis, SD analysis, and JIT, just-in-time inventory technique is also there. Next, we have to look at methods of pricing material issues. Then lastly, about material losses. Material losses include waste, scrap, spoilage, and defectives. These are the important points coming under material chapter. As I told you earlier, I am not going to discuss a detail of each and everything, okay? When you consider stock level, that is maximum level, minimum level, reorder level is there. Similarly, when you consider methods of pricing material issues, there are various methods like cost price method, average price method, and notional price methods. These topics are also important from practical point of view, but you will get many videos detailing how to do a problem by using these methods. If I am going to explain all these things detailed, the single video purpose can't be achieved. I think it is very difficult to get all relevant points from one topic in a single video, which can be useful for your pre-preparation stage of any commerce competitive examinations, or you can use it as a last minute reference. I told you these things many times, but I am repeating, okay? So let's start. First of all, I would like to discuss about purchase requisition. This is a formal request to the purchase department to purchase materials. It is the duty of the storekeeper to initiate a purchase requisition. Next one, bill of material. It is a list of complete materials required for a job, process, or work order. It gives the details of materials required and the quantity of each item. It's also called specification of material. It's a list of all material and components, parts required for a job, and which will include small items like nuts, bolts, etc. Next important term is purchase order. It's a written authorization to the supplier to supply the particular material. It is prepared by the purchasing department. Don't get confused with these things, that is purchase requisition, bill of material, and purchase order. Make it clear, because most probably there will be questions from this area. Okay. Next important term you have to study from this chapter is the difference between bin card and stores ledger. Bin, it means a place or section of the store where materials or goods are kept. The store will be divided into different sections, each meant for storing a particular type of material. So each section is called a bin. So bin card refers to a card which shows quantitative details of receipt, issue, and balance of material, and it is maintained by storekeeper. What do you mean by stores ledger? It is a record kept in the costing department. It is a document which will show the quantity and values of material received, issued, and balance at the end. Okay. Next is material requisition note. It is an authorization to the storekeeper to issue material. Material should be issued by the storekeeper only on presentation of this authorized document called material requisition note. It's also known as stores requisition note. Okay. So it is a formal request by the user department to the storekeeper for issue of material. Next term is material transfer note, and this document is used to record transfer of material from one department or job to another. Next is material return note. This note is an authorization to return the material issued in excess of the requirement. Next topic, stock levels. One of the main aim of material control is to maintain optimum inventory. For achieving this objective, management have to fix different stock levels. So the main aim of fixing different stock levels is to avoid overstocking and understocking of materials. These are the different stock levels: maximum level, minimum level, reorder level, average level and danger level. Maximum level. Maximum stock level is the upper level of inventory. This is the level above which stock should not exceed. The main purpose of this level is to avoid overstocking of material and unnecessary blocking of capital in inventories. This level is computed as follows. Maximum level is equal to reorder level plus reorder quantity minus minimum consumption into minimum reorder period. Minimum level. Minimum stock level is the minimum quantity of stock that should be held at all times. It is that level below which stock should not normally be allowed to fall. Minimum stock is also called safety or buffer stock. The main purpose of this level is to ensure that production is not stopped due to non-availability of material. Minimum stock level is computed by the following formula: reorder level minus normal consumption into normal reorder quantity. Minimum stock level is computed by this formula, that is reorder level minus normal consumption into normal reorder period. Here normal consumption means average consumption of material, and normal reorder period we have to calculate. For that we use this equation, that is minimum reorder period plus maximum reorder period all divided by 2. Then we will get normal reorder period. Next, reorder level. This is the level at which order is placed for fresh supply of materials. When the stock of material reaches this level, the storekeeper must reorder for this material. So reorder level is fixed somewhere between minimum level and the maximum level. The formula for calculating reorder level is equal to maximum consumption into maximum reorder period. Or we can use another formula, that is minimum level plus average consumption into average reorder period, or minimum level plus consumption during lead time. Next, average stock level. This is the average stock held by an organization. It is calculated by average stock level is equal to minimum level plus half reorder quantity. Last one, danger level. This is the level of stock below which the stock should never be allowed to fall. When stock reaches danger level, urgent and emergency action should be taken to replenish the stock so that production is not stopped. Danger level is calculated by this following formula, that is average consumption into maximum reorder period for emergency purchases. So that's about different stock levels. Next important term we have to consider is economic order quantity, or EOQ. First we are going to purchase the materials. An important question we have to consider is what quantity should be purchased, or how much quantity to be ordered. The quantity of material should be neither too large nor too less. What happens if it is too large? Holding cost of inventory will be larger. If the quantity is less, ordering cost will be larger. So the size of the order must be economic. So economic order quantity can be defined as the quantity which is most economical to order at a time. In other words, it is the ordering quantity which minimizes the total cost of inventory. See, minimizes the total cost of inventory. So the total cost of inventory consists of ordering cost and carrying cost. What is ordering cost? Ordering cost are those costs which are relating to purchasing and placing an order. These are also known as buying cost. Okay, and what is carrying cost? Carrying cost are cost of holding or carrying the inventories. That's also called storage cost. Okay. Examples for storage cost include rent and insurance of stores, clerical cost, store staff salaries, etc. An important point you have to note is this ordering cost and carrying cost behave in an opposite direction. In other words, they have inverse relationship. That is, if the ordering quantity is larger, the ordering cost will be low because orders placed are few, but the carrying or storage cost will be high. If the ordering quantity is less, the ordering cost will be high. This is because more number of orders have to be placed, but carrying cost will be less. So we need to fix the ordering quantity at that level where the total cost of inventory is lowest. Total cost of inventory means ordering cost plus carrying cost. So we have to fix this ordering quantity where the ordering cost and carrying cost is lowest. This is possible when the ordering cost is equal to carrying cost. Carrying cost means storage cost. Okay. Thus, we can say EOQ is that quantity at which the total inventory cost is minimum. You have to determine EOQ by using this formula, that is root of 2CU divided by I. Here C is equal to annual consumption or usage of material, O is equal to cost of placing an order, and I is equal to annual carrying or storage cost per unit. It is usually calculated as a given percentage of value of material per unit. Next topic is stock verification. Usually the materials purchased for production are not fully consumed. There is some quantity of stock at any time. So we have to check the material losses. So we have to verify properly the material in stock. There are two methods used for the verification of material, that is periodic inventory system and perpetual inventory system. What you mean by periodic inventory system? As the name indicates, periodic stock verification, we have to verify the entire stock at a time at periodic intervals, usually once in a year, that is at the close of the accounting period. Okay. Thus, stock taking at the end of the year or half year, okay, it's called periodic stock taking or periodic inventory system. So the entire material is physically counted and the value of closing stock is ascertained for the purpose of preparation of final accounts. So during the period of physical stock taking, the factory has to be closed. Hence, periodic inventory system is not suitable to large business houses. In such cases, perpetual inventory system is followed. Then we have to look at perpetual inventory system. What is that? This is another system of verification of material. The system of material control on a continuous basis while the material is in storage. So under this system, the actual stock is taken continuously and is compared with the stock as shown by the material records. That is, in this method, we have to record store balance after every receipt and issue to facilitate regular checking and to avoid closing down of factory for stock taking. So the important feature of this perpetual inventory is continuous physical stock taking. Okay. Next, selective inventory control techniques. Only the important method I am going to discuss here. There are various methods. ABC analysis is there, WED analysis is there, FSN, HML, SDE, SOS, GOLF analysis, and JIT is there. First of all, ABC analysis, abbreviation of always better control or alphabetic control. We know in case of large concerns, there will be large number of items are kept in the stores. So it is very difficult to concentrate on each and every item. In such situations, ABC analysis is used. The objective is to exercise better control over material. Under ABC analysis, all material are classified into three categories, A, B and C according to value. So here category A includes high value items, high value materials, that is costlier material. And category B includes medium or moderate value of material, or that is less costly material, and category C includes lower value material, that is least cost materials. As per this method, a very strict control is exercised over category A material, a moderate control is exercised over category B material, and relatively lesser degree of control over category C material. So here we divides material into three categories and uses different degrees of control over each category. Here we are concentrating our efforts in those items where attention is needed most. This is the management by exception system of inventory control. This example will help you to understand this concept more clearly. See, here category A material represents 70% of the material cost or material value, but it constitutes only 10% of the item or quantity. Okay, these are high value material. And C category material represent 25% of the total material cost, but it constitutes 20% of the material items, that is middle value materials. Then category C, it constitutes 70% of the total items, but it represents only 5% of the total value. These are low value materials. Okay. This ABC analysis is also called proportional parts value analysis or demand and supply method. Next, VED analysis. VED analysis stands for vital, essential and desirable. This technique of material control is used for control of spare parts, oils and lubricants. Here spare parts are classified into vital, essential and desirable. Vital spares are those which are very critical for production or which is very necessary, very essential for production. If these items are out of stock, it will lead to immediate production stoppage or heavy production loss. Okay, and then essential spares. These are which are very important. Without these, production can be done only for few hours or a day. If these items are out of stock for a long period, production will stop. That means a shortage of these essential spares for few hours or a day will not affect production. Then finally, desirable spares. These are required for production, but factory can manage without them for some time, say for a week or even more, because they have some substitutes. So here when we exercising control, greater attention should be paid on vital spares. Next is just-in-time inventory technique or JIT. JIT is a modern technique of inventory control. It was first used by the Japanese motor company Toyota. The objective of JIT is to minimize inventories of raw material and work in progress. It also aims at eliminating waste from every aspect of manufacturing and its related activities. Actually, JIT refers to producing only what is needed when it is needed in just the quantity needed. There are three aspects to JIT, that is JIT production, JIT purchasing and JIT delivery. Here JIT production, it indicates to produce the required items of high quality exactly at the time they are required. And under JIT purchasing, a company makes arrangement with supplier to deliver material just before they are needed in the production process. And lastly, JIT delivery. It is the ability of a carrier to meet a customer's demand requirements for short transit time. We can see many examples for this just-in-time inventory process. Think about mass market retailers or big box retailers like Target Corporation and Walmart. They schedule their seasonal merchandise to arrive just as demand is beginning to pick up for specific item. Even smaller retailers can take advantages of this JIT methodology. Likewise, Burger King franchisors keep a substantial inventory of hamburger ingredients on hand all time, but a hamburger is only cooked when it is ordered. This JIT, ABC and VED analysis is very important. There are some more selective inventory control techniques. I will explain briefly, okay? FSN analysis. Here FSN means fast moving, slow moving and non-moving inventory. It's about segregating products based on their consumption rate, quantity and the rate at which the inventory is used. Here fast moving means it suggests that a stock that moves quickly and need to be replenished very often. Slow moving inventory means that moves slowly, and non-moving inventory that rarely moves. Okay. Next is HML analysis, that is high, medium and low. It is very similar to ABC analysis. Here items are classified into three groups labeled as high, medium, low. It is another method that classify inventory according to product's unit price. Here H indicates high cost item with a high unit value. M means items with a medium unit value. Okay, it is similar to ABC. The difference is instead of using value, here we using price criterion. SDE analysis. It represents three levels of classification: scarce, difficult, and easy. Here inventory classifies according to scarcity of supply. Okay. SOS analysis. This analysis based on the nature of supplies and period of their availability. That is, it is based on the seasonality of items. That is what is meant by availability here. And it classifies all the items into two categories, that is seasonal and off-seasonal. That is SOS, seasonal and off-seasonal. Here what is benefit to sellers is that they can buy seasonal items at lower prices and keep inventory and sell them at a high price during off-season. Mostly raw materials, especially agricultural inputs, are generally classified as seasonal and off-seasonal. Next kind of analysis is GOLF. It's another kind of analysis tool. This letter stands for government, ordinary, local, and foreign. That is, this classification of inventory item is done considering the nature of supply. Here under this classification, G indicates government controlled supply, O indicates open market supply, L means local supplies, and F for foreign market supplies. Okay, moving to the next topic, that's about methods of pricing material issues. There are various methods of pricing material issues. It may be grouped under the following categories: cost price or actual cost method, average price methods, and notional price methods. This is the classification. You just go through the table. Okay, here under cost price methods, FIFO, LIFO, base stock, specific price, HIFO, that is highest in first out, and NIFO, next in first out. 6 methods are there. I am not going to give a detailed discussion on this topic here. FIFO and LIFO are more important methods. FIFO means first in first out method. Under this method, materials received first are issued first. In other words, material are issued from the first load or first consignment and priced at actual cost. After completion of the first load, the second load is issued, and so on. So here materials are issued in the order in which they are received in the stores, that is chronological order. Okay. So here the point you have to notice is that here closing stock will be valued at the latest prices. And one more point you have to note here is that in the times of falling price, FIFO method is the most useful method. Okay. And last in first out method, that is LIFO method. This is just reverse of FIFO method. Under LIFO method, materials received last are issued first. Thus, materials are issued at the latest consignment prices and closing stock is valued at the oldest consignment prices. So, in times of rising prices, LIFO method is particularly useful. Second category is average price methods. Under this head, there are 6 another sub methods: simple average, weighted average, periodic simple average, periodic weighted average, moving simple average, and moving weighted average. Actually, these are very simple. If possible, I will make another video regarding this topic. Okay, that is which is specifically about the method of pricing material issues. Okay, and third category is notional price methods. Under this head, there is standard price method, inflated price method, market price, and reuse method, reuse price. Okay, let's take a look at material losses. We know material are subject to losses. Material losses arise in course of handling, storage, and use in production. Mainly, there are 4 forms of material losses. They are waste, scrap, spoilage, and defective. First one, waste or wastage. Waste is that portion of basic raw material which is lost in processing and which has no recovery value. For example, dust, smoke, gases, unsaleable residue, etc. This wastage is divided into 2. That is, normal wastage is there and abnormal wastage is there. What do you mean by normal waste? Normal wastage, it is natural and incidental to production. It arises due to inherent nature of raw material, so it is unavoidable. For example, we can say losses due to evaporation, leakage, climatic condition. Okay, or we can say loss on account of bulk issuing materials into small lots. All these are examples for normal waste. And what do you mean by abnormal waste? abnormal. As the name indicates, abnormal waste is one which arises due to abnormal reasons such as accident, fire, theft. It is avoidable. Okay. Secondly, scrap. It is the incidental material residue coming out of a certain type of manufacturing, usually a small quantity and of low value. It is recoverable without further processing. For example, metal scrap arises due to operations like turning, boring, punching, molding, filing, etc. Or we can say cut pieces in furniture industry and cut pieces in leather and garment industries. You have to note the point, it has a realizable value. It is generally of small value. It does not require further processing. Okay. And third type of material loss is spoilage. Spoilage is that part of production which has been damaged in the manufacturing operation, but it can be used again as raw material either in the same process or in another process. It is man-made scrap. It occurs or happen due to faults in operation, bad workmanship, use of defective raw material, defective machines, and faulty tool setting. It may be normal or abnormal. Finally, defectives. Defective represent that part of production having some defects. It can be rectified and turned into good units by incurring extra cost. It arises on account of substandard material, bad maintenance of material, wrong setting up of tools, bad workmanship, bad design of the product, etc. Spoilage cannot be rectified, but defectives can be rectified by reworking and turned into good units. This is the basic difference between the spoilage and defective. Okay. And one thing you have to do before completing material chapter, that is you have to read the treatment of this item, that is treatment of both normal waste and abnormal waste, treatment of scrap, treatment of spoilage and defective. Okay. If you clearly understood those points which I discussed in this video, I am sure that you will score all questions from this area. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching.